day, people around the globe. Welcome back to our podcast. This is your new host, Kimberly Palenzuela.
And this is also your new host, Denise Laganzo.
Yes, after waiting a long time, the Journo Ladies is back on track.
Yes, it's totoo lang. I feel honored to be one of the new hosts of this hour.
Me too. I would like to express my gratitude na din to the show's founders. Thank you for creating this incredible show.
Yeah, shout out kina Meryl, Francine, tsaka Rigel. I hope you're doing okay at sana nakikinig din kayo ngayon sa Journo Ladies.
Yeah, shout out na rin. So before muna tayo magsimula, gusto muna kitang kamustahin, Moms. How are you these days?
Eto, super busy sa finals and sa mga lumalaban din. Kaya okay lang ni. Ikaw ba, Mams? How are you?
Same din me. We're just juggling things, lalo na matatapos na rin ang ating finals, finally.
So for today's episode, we have to tone down our voices kasi we're going to dig a deeper hole sa magiging topic natin.
Yes, so we're going to discuss a masterpiece that is so underrated but deserves so much recognition dahil sa kung gaano kahusay inilatag ang commentaries sa social issues dito sa Pilipinas. I'm talking about the film Smaller and Smaller Circles.
Just a trigger warning, guys. This podcast may contain details that are not suitable for some audiences. Listeners' discretion is advised. Smaller Circles is about a serial killer who kills young boys in the slums of Payatas, Quezon City by slashing off their faces and dismembering their organs and genitals. Ang gore. Nakafocus ang film na to sa kung paano sinusubukang tuklasin ng dalawang pare kung sino ang nasa likod ng patayan, using their expertise sa larangan ng forensic anthropology at clinical psychology.
So this film was directed by Raya Martin and is actually based off a novel with the same title written by F.H. Batacan. Counting trivia lang din sa ating listeners, no? Ang Smaller and Smaller Circles is considered to be the first crime novel here in the Philippines. The book received numerous awards since it was first published in 2002. To name a few, nariyan ang Philippine National Book Award at Carlos Palanca Memorial Award.
I think that makes the movie even more worthy of recognition, just like how the book did kasi kakaiba ang subject niya. As we are all aware, talagang hindi pangkaraniwan ang serial killers dito sa Pilipinas compared sa Western countries, and it has something to do with our culture. Sinasabi sa book na Filipinos are too family-oriented and religious to devote their time in committing a well-planned killing spree. Smaller and Smaller Circles actually reminds me of my favorite K-dramas kasi serial killers talaga ang kadalasang subject ng Korean crime series. The same goes with the documentary series of the known serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. And now, just the subject but the plot and how the story progressed lived up to the standard of Korean crime series.
I totally agree. But before we delve deeper into the film itself, pag-usapan muna natin ang actors na gumanap sa film, especially si Father Augusto Saints and Father Jerome Lucero, played by the legendary themselves, Noni Buencamino and Sid Lucero respectively. Kay Sir Noni Buencamino talagang given na ang pagiging versatile niya as an actor dahil laman din siya ng theater stages. He has portrayed lots of roles at kadalasan ay kontrabida siya. Pero in this film, he drifted far away from being the most hated character to the most desired one dahil primarily si Father Saints talaga ang nakapag-solve ng mystery behind the killing spree.
But of course, to give due credit, Father Saints wouldn't have been able to solve it without the help of his sidekick, Father Jerome Lucero. I love how Sid is a little laid back sa film. The way he delivers his lines, hindi niya sinasapawang si Sir Noni despite his mind-blowing ideas as a clinical psychologist. Kumbaga, he became the mind and Father Saints became the hands. Through his profiling naman, nalaman ni Father Saints kung ano ang mga susunod na necessary actions in order for them to track down the killer.
Carla Humphreys as Joanna Bonifacio was a surprise. Although momentary lang na-highlight sa film kung gaano kahalaga ang role ng journalist to solve a crime that is as big as serial killing by accidentally filming the murder weapon alongside the cadaver. And mind you, this journalist studied at an elite school which is Ateneo. There's even a scene in the movie where she is conversing fluently with her former teacher, which is Father Saints in French. It goes to show that when you're passionate about what you're doing, gagawin mo talaga no matter how hard it is. And I mean, it's a known fact din naman siguro na hindi high-paying job ang profession natin. Journalists are willing to sacrifice their personal lives just to be of service sa mga tao. And it was candidly depicted in the movie, particularly where Joanna is spending time with her boyfriend when her colleague called, informing her of another found victim.
Syempre, if there are heroes, hindi din mawawala ang villains. They also gave justice to their roles of not giving justice to the victims. Pun intended. The character of Ricky Davao as Cardinal Meneses really suited him as he has always been an antagonist in his previous projects. In this film, he plays a priest who is the total opposite of Father Saints and Father Lucero. All he cares about is the reputation of the church and sweeping the dirt under the rug, as how Father Saints put it, in his way to maintain it.
Yes, and speaking of sweeping the dirt under the rug, director Philip, played by Christopher De Leon and Benjamin Arcinas, whose character was portrayed by Rafi Tejada, did the exact same thing by framing a repeat offender whose mother is in the hospital. Kumbaga, ginamit nila yun kahinaan ng isang petty criminal, well, compared sa isang serial killer, para lang mapalabas na wala ng serial killer na kakatakutan ng mga tao. At para mapabango ang nasirang pangalan ng mga kapulisan. Sounds familiar, right?
That's right. Pero alam mo, if there's one character that never really stood out, but does not deserve to be hated at the same time, I would say it's Bembo Roca's character, which is director Francisco Lastimosa. Knowing the fact that he is holding the highest position in the NBI, he never really exerted much effort sa pagsuporta kina Father Saints when he was the one who asked for their assistance in the first place. On the other hand, nung nalaman niya ang frame-up na nangyari, he did not just stand still. Pinamukha niya ang kapalpakan ng dalawa, and he even threatened to file administrative cases against them. I say deserve.
Of course, hindi natin pwedeng hindi pag-usapan ang star of the show. Sa profiling ni Father Lucero, the first thing that he noticed about this serial killer's choice of his victims is that he thinks of himself as weak. That's why he strategically picks young boys. They're weak and fragile, so it's easy for him to do the unthinkable. Isang pukpok lang sa ulo, wala na agad.
You know, the first time I heard the title, naging palaisipan talaga sa akin kung bakit smaller circles. Until I did my own research. The circles pala pertain to the distance between the people that are hunting the killer and the killer itself. Smaller and smaller circles is a figurative term for the paranoia that the killer is feeling habang papalapit ng papalapit ang mga pulis at sila Father Saints sa kanya. Cause remember, he projects himself as weak and helpless, kaya gano'n na lang ang takot na nararamdaman niya.
Ang galing! Ngayon ko lang din yan nalaman actually.
Diba? Now you already know.
Yes, I do know na. So about the fact na ang serial killer is thinking of himself as weak. So, well, maybe not the first, pero usually killers are dominant. Kaya sila may guts na pumatay ng tao. Kasi ang tingin nila sa sarili nila, superior, like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance.
Yes, besides, killing is their only way to hide their weakness. To assert dominance, ika nga.
True. Anyways, before tayo mag-commercial break, tatalakayin natin mamaya ang current social issues na related din sa